Welcome students. In this E-class of BND Government Arts College Chimanpura, BA Part 3rd, Paper 1st, we have been discussing Girish Karnad's famous play TUGHLAQ. In the earlier classes, we had discussed scene 1st to scene 4th of the play. In this class, we would continue the play and would discuss scene 5th and scene 6th of the play. Girish Karnad is one of the outstanding dramatists in modern India, and he is a pioneer in the field of new drama. TUGHLAQ is Girish Karnad's best play, and his art and technique are best studied in reference with this play. This is a historical play, and the plot is based on history. The central character is Muhammad bin TUGHLAQ, and there are a number of characters who surround him. Some of them, they are historical characters, but there is a judicious mixture of fact and fiction. So there are also characters like Aziz and Azam, who are dramatists' own convention. TUGHLAQ is structured on opposites, the ideal and the real, the divine inspiration and the deft intrigue. So intrigue is a very important aspect of the play, and we have seen it in the earlier scenes, scene 3rd and 4th, that how intelligently, how craftily TUGHLAQ had been successful in getting rid of Ain al-Mulk and Sheikh Imamuddin. So let's now discuss scene 5th. So by the end of scene 4th, we had come to know that in a few days, the nobles of the court and the important citizens of Delhi, they are going to hold a secret meeting to plan against TUGHLAQ. And Shihabuddin was requested to be part of this meeting. So as the curtain rises, a number of Amirs, Sayyids, Shihabuddin and other citizens of Delhi, they are all gathered up for this secret meeting. Shihabuddin, we are told, has been instigated to be part of this meeting by his brother Ratan Singh. So Shihabuddin, who had been asked to take care of the empire in TUGHLAQ's absence, has been present in this meeting. When the scene opens, we see a house in Delhi, and there are certain Amirs, Sayyids, Shihabuddin and Ratan Singh present over there. And they are to discuss what to do against the tyranny of TUGHLAQ. Shihabuddin is at first quite reluctant to be part of this meeting, and he is not quite interested in the affairs of Delhi. But Amirs, they request him in this climate of distrust, and they actually request him to help them out in this situation. The issue of shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad is raised, and the reason actually has been stated by one of the Amir that why Sultan or why TUGHLAQ is quite keen to shift the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, because this Amir says that he wants to weaken the strength of Muslims, the Amirs and the Sayyids, because they are quite strong in Delhi, which is a Muslim populated state. And Daulatabad, it is a Hindu city, and all the Amirs, all the Sayyids and all the Muslims, they would be helpless there. And so they would not have any other option but to listen to the king or to agree to TUGHLAQ. Shihabuddin, he is quite in favor of Muhammad bin TUGHLAQ and the work done by him, and he says that he has built schools, roads, hospital, and good use of the money is done by TUGHLAQ. So quite welfare works they have been done by Tughlaq. But one of the Sayyids tell that Sultan is anti-Islam because he has exempted Hindus from paying the jizya tax, which is sanctioned by Quran. And Tughlaq always says that he's talking about Hindu-Muslim unity. Shihabuddin is disgusted and still he is not prepared, mentally prepared, or still he does not agree to lead this entire revolt. At this particular stage, an old sheikh who has been sitting in the corner all along, he steps forward and he addresses Shihabuddin. He is Sheikh Shamsuddin. Shamsuddin. On being asked why he is there, Shamsuddin tells them that he should have been in his mosque and he was not quite interested in mixing up with these treacherous activities or the game of politics, but he's quite fed up, means all of them, they are quite fed up by the tyranny of Sultan. So Sheikh Hadri is in prison, Sheikh Hood is in exile, and Shihabuddin replies that means religion and politics, they should not be mingled up, they should not be mixed up. Sheikh Imamuddin was killed, they are being told, because his crime was that he stood for the people and he was open. So all the Amirs, they tell Shihabuddin that anybody who tries to speak up the truth or who tries to communicate the reality to public are killed like Sheikh Imamuddin. So Imamuddin, because he was to speak in Delhi and a public meeting was organized by Tughlaq, it was just very much manipulative. The king had his own intrigue for getting rid of Sheikh Imamuddin. Because when Imamuddin was to speak in Delhi, the soldiers under the arms, under the orders of Sultan, went from door to door, prohibiting the people from attending the speech, from coming into that meeting. And even at the time when king himself was present in the dais with Sheikh Imamuddin, the soldiers, they were hiding in the street and they were restricting everyone who tried to come and attend the meeting of Sheikh Imamuddin. So the king always, he has his motives hidden behind his appearance. He is never honest in his attitude. So it's true that the king himself had invited the entire Delhi to listen to the meeting, but he had actually stopped everyone, threatening them of the dire consequences if anyone dared to attend the meeting. So in disguise or quite manipulatively, Tughlaq had abstained each and every person of Delhi to attend the meeting. They were his orders. And so Sultan and Sheikh Imamuddin, they were left alone, and Sheikh Imamuddin, he had to cater to the demands of Tughlaq, and in that process he was killed. Sheikh Shamsuddin, he himself got a wound, and he shows that means I tried to come and tried to attend the meeting, but I got a wound. So one of the sheikh, he opens his shirt, shows a wound on his shoulders, and all of them, they request Shihabuddin to do the right thing. And what is the right thing that they are expecting Sheikh Shihabuddin to do? Means to help the citizens of Delhi who are under the rule, or means who are suppressed or who are quite oppressed under the rule of the tyranny of Tughlaq. Ratan Singh, he cannot actually, he is not able to bear the attitude of Shihab for a longer time, and he says that Shihab's father is supposed to have killed Ratan Singh's father by treachery and usurped the kingdom. And Shihabuddin has not forgotten them, he wanted to make up for it. And Shihabuddin says that means because of the pleadings or because of the request of Ratan Singh, he has come here into this meeting. And Ratan Singh suggests a plan of action. He says that Sultan is very fanatic about prayers, and prayer time is the best time when everybody is praying, because prayer is made compulsory in the state. So this is the best time when they can get rid of Sultan. So during the prayer, he can be easily murdered because all the soldiers and even Tughlaq, they all would be unarmed. The meeting means next Tuesday, they say that the Amirs will be seeing the Sultan for the Darbare Khas. So this Darbare Khas, it can be, means this meeting can be prolonged till the prayer time. And the Muezzin's call to prayer, it would be a signal for the attack. So they need an extra couple of 100 soldiers outside the palace, and they can control the entire palace and would be able to murder Tughlaq during this time. So this is the plan of action of getting rid of Tughlaq that the Amirs, they are devising. Some of the Sayyids and Sheikh, they oppose the use of the time of prayer because they do not want to pollute the prayer time. But Ratan Singh tells them that the Quran holds that the tyranny does not deserve to be prolonged. It should not be considered among the faithful. So means in whatsoever mode or in whatsoever way they can get rid of Tughlaq, even if it is the prayer time, but because he is a tyrant, he is anti-Muslim, therefore this prayer time, the use of prayer time can be justified. So Shihabuddin, when he hears the Sheikh, he also says that means we are here to save Islam and not to insult him. And Islam, it does not work only during the prayer time. So anytime if we are murdering a person, that is anti-Islamic. Now, they all devise this plan and they all agree that we can get rid of Tughlaq during this prayer time, and this is something which was decided in the meeting. So by the end of the scene, all the religious leaders, Amirs, and they are actually they all actually request, and Shihabuddin agrees to their motives, and together they decide the plan of action to get rid of Tughlaq. So by the end of scene 5th, we come to know that a revolt is brewing against Tughlaq. The religious leaders, they are all against him, and a clever plan of action is prepared. Again, the entire incident that was shown to us in scene 3rd is clarified in this scene. We come to know that Sultan, he is a very crafty politician, and further we are actually given an insight into his crafty temperament or crafty nature. No doubt he organized a meeting for Sheikh Imamuddin to address the people. At the same time, it were his orders that soldiers, they went from house to house and to every person, and they made sure that none dared come to listen to Sheikh Imamuddin. And in this way, Tughlaq had devised an entire plan of making the maximum out of the resemblance that he and Sheikh Imamuddin had, and in this way he got rid of both Sheikh Imamuddin and would be able to control Ain al-Mulk. So religious leaders in this scene, they are all against him, and a clever action plan, it is now made, it is prepared. Shihabuddin, he is persuaded, he is requested to take part in the revolt, and again there is an irony in the relationship that is being shown of Sheikh Imamuddin and Ratan Singh, his adopted brother, because secretively even Ratan Singh is holding an intrigue against his brother Shihabuddin. So outwardly he instigates his brother to lead the entire revolt, but inwardly he is making his own ends meet. So the play is all full of various intrigues that the characters, they are playing. So in scene 5th, we have come to know that there's an action plan that has been devised by the religious leaders, the Amirs, Sayyids, Sheikhs, And Shihabuddin and Ratan Singh, they are going to lead this event, lead this action. When the scene 6th, it opens, it is the palace. Muhammad, Nazib and Barani, they are seen as the curtain rises and there's a silence for a short time. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he is restless and he is walking up and down. So Nazib and Barani, they are in deep conversation, and Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he seems to be restless. The doorkeeper, he comes up and announces the arrival of the Amirs along with Shihabuddin for Darbar-e Khas. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he controls himself and welcomes them warmly to Darbar-e Khas, and he tells them that he has to talk on 2 points. Means directly he comes to the point and he says that means there are 2 points that he has to discuss before the prayer. Means they should not be late for the prayer. And he's saying that there are 2 things that I want to talk, and if you have something to say, you can also say it. Means without any formality, you can come down to your point. So when the Amirs and when the Sheikh said that they have nothing to say, they have nothing to talk about, he informs them about Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. Now Ghiyasuddin Abbasid in the later part of the play would be a very important character, and his entire story or the story related to Ghiyasuddin Abbasid would be unfolded in the later part of the play. So he tells them, and everyone is perplexed because nobody has actually listened to Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. So they are all perplexed that who this person is. And the king says that he has accepted the invitation to visit the capital. He is a member of the hallowed family of the Abbasid Khalifas. And when complimented by Shia for his wisdom, Muhammad bin Tughlaq firmly says that he has invited Abbasid to show how faithful and how modest he is towards Islam. Now the ironical situation arises because all these Amirs, all these Sayyids in their meetings, they have accused Muhammad bin Tughlaq of being anti-Islamic in his behavior. And the first thing that he communicates to them is that he is quite faithful towards and modest towards Islam, and therefore he has invited one of the distinguished person from the Khalifa family to guide him in running the kingdom according to the tenets or the teachings of Islam. So with a little humility in his tone, Tughlaq says that since the death of Imamuddin, he has been seriously thinking if he has really the right to put on the royal robes and be called a king, and he wants to know from them what they like him to do. So he is saying that means all of you are present, you just guide me, and even I am inviting Ghiyasuddin to guide me that what I must do to operate or means to rule the kingdom according to the tenets of Islam. The Amirs, they are quite baffled by Tughlaq's attitude, and there is a complete silence. And when one of the Sayyids says that the visit of Abbasid will wash away the sins of Delhi, then Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he retorts and tells out his next plan of action, that he is not coming here to Delhi. Ghiyasuddin Abbasid would be coming to Daulatabad. And then there is one more decision that he communicates to the Amirs and the Sayyids and everyone present over there, that there will be a copper currency in the state, and it will run along with the silver dinars and will have the same value as the silver dinar. So two most important decisions of Tughlakan Empire that is notable in history of shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, and the introduction of copper currency is disclosed in this scene. And everyone is surprised. Shihabuddin, he asked that why he has decided to replace the silver dinars with the copper currency. Muhammad replies that he cannot actually now disclose it out, but he can just tell that the introduction of the copper coin was a matter of trust and confidence in Tughlaq. Now, in this sense, he was quite much ahead of his times, because silver dinars or gold currency, it can be very limited in circulation. But as far as copper currency is concerned, it can be unlimited in circulation. So, for the economic development, he is saying that copper coins, they can be issued and they can be replaced for silver dinars in the same way, because they hold the trust and the confidence of the king. And he says that empire cannot flourish with Delhi as its capital, so he is shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. So, justification from Tughlaq side is given. One of the amirs, seriously, when he listens to both of these decisions, means shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad and the introduction of copper currency, he calls him mad. And Sultan, he looks at him and he asks that what he is whispering. And he says it to Amir that you can speak out openly without any fear. You can criticize me, you can distrust me, means I can order you all to obey me, but tell me, how do I gain your full trust? Means this is the speech of Tughlaq that he addressed to Amirs. And he said, that means very pleadingly, he said that I can only beg for gaining your full trust, because Tughlaq says that he has new hopes, and his hopes are for building a new future for India, and he needs support from all of the amirs, from all the important citizens, and from all the subjects of his kingdom. And he actually communicates to the amirs and sayyids that if you have your own doubts and if you need any kind of explanation, bear with me in patience and ask me to explain myself, and I would explain myself, and be patient until the results they are shown to you. But please don't let me go down, and I request you, I kneel before you, and please don't let go of my head. Now, there is a complete perplexity on the part of the amirs when they listened to this speech, which was quite unexpected from the king. All of them, they had actually in the earlier meeting accused Tughlaq of being anti-Islamic, accused Tughlaq of being tyrannical, of not listening to anyone. And here he was begging in front of them and asking all the amirs to tell them about their opinions, about their beliefs, and about their ideas about running the kingdoms. Shihabuddin is embarrassed and tells the king that he must not request, because on the part, means as a king, he should command, he should not request. On listening to the amirs, Tughlaq goes to the throne, picks up the Quran, and wants them to take an oath on the loyalty on the Quran. Shihabuddin tells them that when you are asking us to take an oath on Quran, that really means that you do not trust us. In the meanwhile, Muezzin's call is heard and the followers know that it is the time for prayer. Now, just to remind you that in scene 5th, it was being decided that Tughlaq, means all the amirs and the sayyids, in that particular meeting in the earlier scene, they had decided that Tughlaq would be murdered during prayer time, because this is the time when all the soldiers and Tughlaq, they would be unarmed. So, as soon as the muezzin's call is heard. The Sultan decides to pray there and ask everyone to do the prayers. There is some commotion heard outside. Shihabuddin and the Amirs, all of a sudden they draw out their daggers as to execute their plan of murdering Tughlaq, but instantly 20 Hindu soldiers hidden behind the curtain drag the Amirs away. All are actually taken away except Shihabuddin, who is left for the mercy of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Now we come to know that Tughlaq, he had come to know about this entire plan and he had devised up the action to control or to overcome this plan of action of Sheikhs, Amirs and Shihabuddin. Shihabuddin is frightfully sitting and Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he is completing his prayer. After the prayer, Muhammad tells Shihab that the reason that why he could know, means how he could know about the entire plan. He tells Shihabuddin that he could meet the situation because he was forewarned by Ratan Singh. So Ratan Singh's intrigue is disclosed in this scene. He shows the letter of Ratan Singh to Shihabuddin and asks him that I had full trust in you, means in my absence I had actually given you the charge of the empire. So I had full trust in you. So what was the reason that you revolted against me? His anger is roused and Tughlaq, he takes out his dagger and starts stabbing Shihabuddin. It is a brutal sight. He got frenzied and goes on stabbing Shihabuddin. It was so ferocious, the entire scene is so horrified that Barani comes up, he screams and he says that, Your Majesty, he is dead. Why are you stabbing him again and again? This is so brutal. Muhammad is in great anguish and he asks Barani that why everyone whom he trusts are doomed to go down in history as traitors. Whosoever he is trusting, they are proving to be treacherous to him. Muhammad is shown to be trembling all over and staring at the body of Shihabuddin, which is lying on the mat. And he orders that every Amir who was involved in this revolt should be caught, beheaded, and their bodies, they should be filled with straw and they should be hanged in the palace yard to be a lesson to everyone that those who are going to be treacherous or traitors would be punished like this, would see this end. Nazib, he advises, because he is a politician and he is very crafty, he is very clever, so he advises Muhammad bin Tughlaq to be patient and he says that the death of Shihabuddin would prove to be very dangerous from the side of his father, Shihabuddin's father, and he is a powerful man. So we have to devise a plan in which the wrath of Shihabuddin's father, it has to be controlled. Muhammad, regaining control of himself, asks Nazib to proclaim, to make a public announcement that Shihabuddin died a martyr's death in saving Muhammad bin Tughlaq's life, who was attacked or treacherously who was attacked by Amirs and Sayyids in Darbar-e-Khas. So Shihabuddin, he has become a martyr and he has to be given a grand funeral, and in this funeral the father of Shihabuddin, he should be duly invited as a martyr's father. Nazib objects to this plan of action because there were Hindu soldiers who controlled this entire situation. They knew about this entire incident, lest somebody disclose the secret or the truth to Shihabuddin's father, and they'll talk about it. So Muhammad orders that Hindu soldiers who had seen, means everyone who was present over here, all of them, they should be murdered. Next, Tughlaq orders that people of Delhi, immediately they should vacate the city and leave for Daulatabad. Not a single person should be left behind, and earlier it was the choice of the people to leave from Delhi to Daulatabad, but now these are the compulsory orders from the state that everyone they have to leave from Delhi to Daulatabad. And then he tells Barani that he wanted every act in his kingdom to become a prayer, and this prayer was a means to lead to knowledge. And the purpose of the prayer was to lead, or was to be nearer to God. But even these prayers, they are filled with disease, and they are filled with manipulation, and people, they are no longer sacred. They are no longer believing in the holy powers of prayer. So from now onwards, what I want is that even prayers, they should be stopped altogether. He says that I want Delhi vacated immediately, and I had been very soft, but now I am very strict, I am very stern in my actions, and I want that immediately we should leave from Delhi to Daulatabad. So he modifies his order of stopping the prayer, because Nazib very intelligently, he is controlling this entire situation, and he says that all of a sudden, if prayer would be stopped altogether, it might create revolt. So rather than stopping the prayers, you should actually proclaim that people will pray again, but after the arrival of Ghiyasuddin Abbasid, because the Khalifa is coming, and let the proclamation be made that the right way to do the prayers would be taught to us by Ghiyasuddin Abbasid, and once he comes, the prayer would be resumed again. Muhammad, by the end of this scene, stands staring at Shihabuddin's body, and when Barani asks him to cover the body with a silken cloth, he stops him from doing that. He casts the cloth aside, and he wants that each and every wound of Shihabuddin ought to be seen by the general public. So there are various intrigues and counter intrigues which are parodied in the main plot and the subplot of the play. Ratan Singh, who is the adopted brother of Sheikh Shihabuddin and has been the close associate of Shihabuddin, he is vindictive and he wants to have his own revenge from Shihabuddin, because Shihabuddin's father had killed Ratan Singh's father and he had usurped his kingdom. Since then, Ratan Singh, he has been planning his revenge, and he wanted to take his revenge through treachery. Shihabuddin, he is a trusted friend and courtier, but instigated by or misguided by Ratan Singh, he joins the company of Amirs, Sheikhs and Sayyids who are plotting against Tughlaq, and the plot which was devised was that Tughlaq, he would be killed at prayer time when the entire palace is unarmed, and this would be done during Darbar-e-Khas, the meeting that was to be conducted. So Ratan Singh, he works as a spy. He sends the letter of this entire plan to Muhammad bin Tughlaq and then disappears from the scene. And in scene 6, Shihabuddin leads this revolt of the Amirs and Sayyids instigated by Ratan Singh. Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq, by knowing of the intrigues of the nobles against him, take necessary precautions, with the result that the intrigue is easily overcome. Shihabuddin, he is brutally murdered by Muhammad with his own hands, and orders are given for each and every Amir, Sheikh, soldiers who were present over there to be murdered, so that nobody comes to know about the plot. And Tughlaq, he makes use of this entire incident for his own end. So Tughlaq is considered to be a great tragedy of intrigue also, and it's a medieval play, so action takes place in the 14th century, and the king, he was a prisoner of network of intrigues, and these intrigues are very skillfully and craftily shown by Kerner all through his play.